Hello, Mr. Adam. Thanks for having your time. We really appreciate it.
No problem. It sounds fun to me.
Thanks. So let's begin. Our first question is that please could you a little bit talk about yourself?
Talk about myself. Okay, my name is Adam, to start, obviously. I've been teaching for several years now. I've taught in 5 different countries. I've taught English. I've taught students from 3 years old up until 50 years old. I love traveling. The one thing I love doing more than anything is traveling. I've been to almost every continent, and I look forward to each of my vacations so that I can travel to more places.
Okay.
So that's my biggest passion in life.
Cool. Please could you tell us where did you grow up?
Yep, I grew up just outside of Toronto, Canada, which is it's a pretty big city of 5 million people. But I decided that I wanted to go on many more adventures, and that meant I had to leave Canada and go to the places where I've taught in the last few years. It's been wonderful.
That's gonna be cool, yeah. What's your educational background?
Okay, educational background. I've attended 3 different universities for many, many years. I got a degree in political science. That was my first degree. And after that, I was working for a few years, and then I got a second degree in international development. And then that was also a bachelor's degree. And then I got my master's in international political relations, or as it's called in the degree, international affairs.
Okay. How did you find AUS? How did you hear that there's a job opportunity here?
I was looking for my next adventure, and I was on one of the many job websites for teachers, and there was an American university in Iraq. And I had a friend who was teaching in Erbil 2 years ago, and she said it was a wonderful experience for her. So that made me intrigued and made me want to visit the region.
What were your thoughts on Iraq before you came here?
Because my degree is in political science, I've been following things in Iraq for many years. I mean, even before 2003, going back 25 years, I've had Iraq in my head, and I've always been very interested. I mean, I know this is really one of the birthplaces of modern civilization. So the history here, it doesn't get any richer than the history that you have here in Iraq. And also politically, I was interested in how the war had affected the region, specifically the Kurdish region. I just thought it would be probably a beautiful and interesting place with a very rich culture and history. And it is.
Yeah. And what's your job at the US?
I am an English lecturer, and I teach writing to the level 4 students, the very best writers at APP. And I make them better, I hope.
Okay. How do you describe education at AUIS? How do you see it?
How do I see education at AUIS? Wow, that's a good, this is like an interview question. Am I going to get the job? Education at AUIS. I see it as providing a very advanced and structured level of education for Iraqi students. And I think that they do a good job of bringing an international education here to Suli and making students ready for to explore the world, either to get a job out in the world or just to travel the world.
Okay. What do you expect from AUS and especially to students?
I expect to have fun every day in the classroom, and I expect my students to have fun. We will learn. They will learn, well, we'll learn together, and all of us will enjoy ourselves, and we'll laugh, and it will be an enjoyable experience for everybody. That's what I expect. That's what I like to do every day. I get out of bed in the morning, and I'm happy to come to work. I love teaching, and I love teaching here.
Cool. You know that there are various students. What kind of students do you like to work with more actively? I mean, what kind of students do you teach more actively or effectively?
I like students that do their own work on the subject, so they'll do their own research on the side. Students that are curious, I think, is very important. Students that are asking why and want to know more. The students that ask the questions are the most interesting ones because they're engaged in the learning process. And if they're engaged, they will learn more because their teachers will help them more.
What is the student's strengths or weaknesses?
Let's see.
As you have seen the US and you have experienced.
I don't know if I see it in terms of strengths or weaknesses. I mean, I've taught in several countries now, and there are different characteristics that you see in different places you teach. I've been very impressed by the kindness of the students and their humor and their creativity and their willingness to learn more and to want to really excel and push themselves. If there's a weakness, it's the same weakness you see everywhere with students. And it's the same weakness I had as a student, is organization. It's a little bit chaotic, but if students stay organized, they do very well.
Mr. Adam, you see that outside of class, the students are talking about their instructors, maybe sometimes in a good way, sometimes in a bad way. They have some negative points about their instructors, some positive points about their instructor. What do you see? What do you think? What that your students would say about you outside of class?
Well, they say it in Kurdish and Arabic, so luckily I don't hear it. It's better to ask them. I honestly don't know what my students think of me. I'm sure some of them really enjoy the class because they're passionate about writing, and I try to make it enjoyable for them. And some others, writing is a very difficult subject for students. It's not an easy thing to do, especially in your second language. So I'm sure many of the students would say that I push them too hard and I make it too difficult for them. But I do this not to punish them. I do this because I want them to succeed in the academic program. And if I do not push them, they will not succeed at the academic program. And I will feel guilty that I have failed them, and I won't allow that.
You know that even when we are attending academic program, we are the learners of another language, which is our second language. What do you think? What do you suggest for the students to improve their language?
I would suggest the same thing for anybody who wants to learn a new topic. A language is a very specific topic, but it's the same thing. You have to gather as much of your own information as you can. I would suggest reading a lot of academic English texts. This is how I'm a writing teacher. Anybody becomes a good writer by first being a good reader. So you have to have access to proper English writing. Now, it's the 21st century. Writing is one aspect. You could also, honestly, you can watch movies, you can listen to music, watch television shows, YouTube videos, and get exposed to native English speakers. I think AUIS students are doing a very impressive thing by going to university in a language that's not their first language. I could not do it, so I'm very impressed that they can do it so well.
Okay. It's kind of the question about you. What do you do for fun, especially Iraq at Kurdistan?
Okay. I like to, everywhere I've traveled, I like to just walk the streets and get lost. Honestly. I get to a place, I leave my hotel, and I just walk until I'm lost, and I explore new places, and then I get in a taxi and I go home. And I've done the same thing. I've done the same thing in dozens of countries, and that's what I do in Suli. I take a taxi and I go somewhere. Let's say I want to go have a coffee, so I go. There's some cafes that I will go to sometimes, and then I will go walking, and I will get lost, and I will be in a neighborhood, and I will see. There's some university building that looks interesting to me. Then I see some houses with some gardens, and next thing I know, I'm on a street and there's no sidewalk. And I'm getting almost run over by cars, but this is an exciting adventure. So I like to walk the streets. I like to get lost in the bazaar. I like to see all the streets near Bakhtiari or off of Salem Street. That's most of what I like to do. And otherwise, I explore Bakrajo, or I play some guitar. I watch movies, all of these things. But I hope to explore more. I was here in the summer and it was 50 degrees every day, so you don't go walking when it's 50 degrees. Now that the weather is nicer, I hope to explore even more.
Okay. Mr. Adam, I like sport. Do you like sport, or do you do sport?
I do not play sports. I am not an athlete. I'm not very strong. But I love sports.
But do you support any teams around the world? In the clubs?
I wouldn't say I support teams. I'll watch the Euro Cup and I will watch the World Cup for football.
Yeah.
But where I come from, football is not the most popular sport. I grew up watching hockey and baseball and basketball were the big
Here
sports.
it is very
where I came
popular.
from. Football, of
yes.
course, and I love football. My city, Toronto, is a very big football city for North America. When the World Cup is happening in Toronto, the streets are full of people, full of Brazilians and Portuguese and Spanish and the Greeks. Yeah, even the Germans sometimes. Everybody's in the streets with flags and partying.
Yeah.
So I've been watching football for many years. I've gone to football matches in Toronto. I don't support any team. I've cheered in the past. I like teams that play a clean and fast style, like the Germans. I like the Dutch. Have also been very good. The Spanish are amazing now. I know this.
Yeah. They're famous now.
So they're phenomenal. But my wife is Colombian, and my ancestry is German. So I will cheer for Colombia and Germany in the World Cup next year.
Okay. Thanks, Mr. Adam, for having your time. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure. I love it.
Very nice to